The shot split the air before anyone had time to scream. He didn't think, just moved. The bullet meant for a child found his side instead. She was safe. He was bleeding. And an hour later, 100 Harleys rolled toward the hospital. Luke Carson wasn't supposed to be there. He'd only stopped on Main Street to grab coffee before a ride north. He stood on the sidewalk, gloved hands wrapped around a paper cup, when he noticed the man across the street, nervous, pacing, eyes locked on something small. Luke followed the gaze. A little girl in a pink jacket, no more than 6, stood by the bakery window holding a balloon. Her mother had ducked inside. Luke saw the man's jacket shift, a flash of metal, and before reason could catch him, Luke dropped his coffee and moved. The crack of the gunshot echoed off brick. The girl's balloon slipped from her hand, floating upward. Luke was on one knee, hand pressed to his side, the world narrowing to her wide, terrified eyes. "You're okay," he whispered. Warmth spread under his palm. Sirens wailed somewhere far away. The paramedics worked fast. GSW to the lower left abdomen. Pulse rapid. BP dropping. They cut away his vest, and one paused, eyes flicking to the patch on the back, the winged skull, the letters Hell's Angels. There was a flicker of judgment. Luke knew it well. People saw the patch before they saw the man. The news didn't travel by phone. In the world Luke lived in, words spread the old way. By the wind, by the road, by men who knew how to keep it moving. By the time the hour mark hit, the Steel Saints knew one thing. Luke had taken a bullet for a stranger's kid. And that was enough. The engine started. One here, two there, then more. The rumble rolled through back roads, collected riders from every corner. No texts, no calls, just the kind of loyalty you can't explain in words. The hospital. The waiting room was sterile and slow. The receptionist barely looked up when the first rider walked in. Tall, broad, helmet in hand, leather vest worn smooth. He didn't speak, just stood in the corner. 5 minutes later, 2 more arrived. Then 6, then 20. By the time the hour had passed, the rumble outside was deafening. Chrome lined the curb in perfect formation. 100 bikes, not blocking, not shouting, just there. The kind of presence that says without words, "We stand watch." Inside, the little girl sat in her mother's lap, clutching a juice box. She didn't seem afraid. Luke lay under bright lights. The bullet had torn through muscle, missed anything vital by less than an inch. The surgeon called it luck. Luke didn't believe in luck. He believed in timing. In the haze, he felt someone take his hand. Not a nurse. A grip too rough, too familiar. Briggs stood there, helmet tucked under one arm. "You're an idiot," Briggs muttered. Luke tried to smirk, but it hurt. "Kid's fine?" he asked. Briggs nodded. "Kid's fine. And you've got the whole damn family outside." Luke could hear them faint through the walls, the low, steady thunder of engines idling. When the child walked in holding a drawing, nobody stopped her. She stood at the foot of Luke's bed. "This is you," she said, pointing to a stick figure on a big motorcycle. Luke took the picture carefully. "You got my bike just right," he said. She smiled. "Mama says you're a hero." Luke shook his head. "Heroes don't have speeding tickets." She giggled. "I think you're still one," she said before skipping out. Luke stared at the drawing. He'd taken bullets before, but never for someone who drew him in purple crayon and called him theirs. Sheriff Holt arrived just before dusk. "I heard about what Luke did," Holt said, "and I appreciate it, but this is making people nervous." Briggs didn't flinch. "We're not here for them. We're here for him. You planning to stay all night?" Briggs's tone didn't change. "As long as he's inside, we're out here." The sheriff looked up at the hospital windows. "Don't block the ambulance bay," he said finally, turning back toward his cruiser. Near midnight, Briggs stepped into Luke's room with a paper. "Kid's mom wrote this." The note was short. "You didn't just save my daughter's life, you saved mine. I don't know how to thank you, but I'll tell her every day who you are." Luke read it twice, his throat tight. "She doesn't even know me," he murmured. Briggs smirked. "She knows enough." Luke closed his eyes, not from pain, but from the strange weight in his chest. A weight that felt suspiciously like pride. By morning, rain slid off the hospital awning in steady sheets. The riders didn't move. Some pulled on rain gear. Others just stood under the downpour like it was nothing. A nurse whispered, "They've been here all night." The other shook her head. "For him." "No, with him." When Luke woke to see the water streaking the window, he knew without looking that they hadn't left. It wasn't about making a scene. It was about keeping watch. When the doctor finally cleared him to leave, Luke didn't walk out alone. Outside, the engine started. It wasn't a roar. It was rolling thunder rising in perfect sync. Sophie ran forward, her arms wrapping around his waist carefully. "You didn't forget," she said. "Told you I wouldn't," Luke replied. Luke's Harley sat at the front of the line, cleaned, fueled, and waiting. 2 weeks later, Luke found a wooden bench in the small park near Main Street. A plaque on the backrest read, "For the man who didn't think twice." On the seat was a framed copy of Sophie's crayon drawing. Luke sat down slowly, running a hand over the wood. He didn't need them to know it was him. The bench wasn't about him. It was about what mattered in the space between a moment and a choice. Spring came early that year. Luke rolled the Harley out of the garage. Before he pulled on his helmet, he opened the side bag and slid in two things: Sophie's drawing and her mother's note. The engine came to life under him. As he reached the open stretch beyond town, he twisted the throttle. The wind caught his jacket, carrying with it a promise. Some roads you ride for yourself, and some you ride so no one has to walk alone.